Hello and welcome back to my crafty channel. I'm Rose, if you didn't already know. I'm sorry, I can't get used to having a camera to one side. I prefer to look at the screen. So if I seem to be looking off to the left or the right, don't worry about it. I'll try to remember to look at the actual camera itself. I am improving. I do have a stand that will take the camera and a small tripod. Guess what? Yeah, gremlins. I'll mention them again later on in this video, but they seem to have picked it up. And can I find it? It's here somewhere. When I was trying to make this video, I noticed some other bits have gone missing, as you'll find out in a minute. So I'll not say too much. I'll pass you straight on to Rose in the other room. This is going to get confusing, isn't it? Yeah, typical for me. Back in a minute. Okay, so this is where I'm getting to with the doll's house. As you can see, the basic structure is together. The roof has yet to be done, and where are they? I know it's one hiding down here. It's behind my trombone. I've also got the chimneys. These chimneys very simply just sit on the... Oh, sorry about this for a second. Now I've got a paintbrush in the way. Ah, should have done this beforehand. They basically sit on the side, they slot in there, and they just sit down at the bottom. But as you probably already noticed, I've got some little marks on here. Now what I'm thinking is, if I can just move my trombone so I can get in. This is crazy. Roughly the fireplaces are going in at this point. Now normally they would have a resin type fireplace that has a mantle shelf and a black painted background with a little fire on it at the bottom. Personally, I don't like that idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut holes in the sides of the doll's house in each of the rooms in the main house. And then on the chimney, where I've marked, I'm going to cut out some holes as well, so that we've actually got a deep hole for a fire grate to actually sit in the wall. Now it's a little tricky with a George IV house. It's Regency period. Would they have had very complicated and fancy fireplaces? Well, in rooms that didn't matter, like the bedroom and the nursery, they would have had a very simplified fireplace surround. So it would have been just a piece of plain wood, and I haven't got any, but a piece of plain wood going around. In main rooms, like a dining room or a ladies' withdrawing room or a study, they may have had something a little more posh and a bit more fancy. Marble is quite a common one. Highly decorated, highly carved type fireplaces, and they would have possibly even had the internal fire chimney breasts, whereas this one is external. So with this one being external, I want to keep these walls reasonably flat, so actually insetting the fire grates is a good idea. So we've got this fire chimney breast on the back, and down here by my feet we've got some, no, I can't get it to loosen up. I've got some 3mm hardboard. It's the nearest I can get to MDF, and I've also got some 9mm MDF. Now this hardboard, when it gets cut, should fit on this face to hide the fact I've got holes in the actual chimney breast. So that should work, and I've got this side and this side to do, so a left and a right. There's the other chimney breast, as you can see. If I just move slightly, you might just see that there are some actual marks where I'm going to put fireplaces. The other piece, the thicker piece, is actually going to go on the basement, because I've got a I'll get the word in a second. I've got the butler's office and the main chief cook's office on the left hand side. I've got the kitchen in the middle, and I've got basically a storeroom on the right. So I'm going to put a chimney breast in if I can on both sides. I yet to work out exact sizings, but again, do the same thing, hole through the body and a hole through the actual chimney breast, which I shall make, and then cover it with the hardboard and get it all sealed. And that way we'll have a fire in the I will get that in the right place. My headband's falling off here, so I will get a fire in the butler and the main cook's office. I'll put a fire in the storeroom, but obviously they wouldn't have lit a fire in a storeroom unless it was threatening really cold weather. The kitchen's the awkward one. I've yet to sort that one out. Obviously you can't really put a chimney right the way through a house, so normally they wouldn't have done. So I need to think about that. At the back of the kitchen, which is the middle room, there's going to be a false door. So I've either got to do it to one side or the other, because there will have to be a fireplace. Come on, focus. There will have to be a fireplace somewhere in the kitchen. So that's another little job. As you can see, the roof down there is just taped together. I've yet to get that one glued, but that will then sit on here when I'm finished. So slowly but surely it is coming along. As you can see, the stairwells have all been blocked off, so nice and clean. If I just go upside down, you'll notice there's actually a sheet of ply. Don't know how well that is because I can't see my phone. I'll look in a minute. A sheet of ply underneath, and then it's filled in with a little bit of thin ply on top. This is the way I'm doing it. I can then utilise the hallway and put a false door in the back. So against the back wall will be a false door on all 3 levels. Traditionally, this is how they would have moved around the house. The servants would have used the back stairs, which is where the term comes from. They would have brought things in and gone out through the back stairs, and there would have been another main stairwell for the members of the household. On a doll's house, we can't put, 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms front to back. We have a compressed system, so we can only really sort of indicate how it would have been done. This is my way of doing it. So once I've actually got these floors done, you won't even see the patches. I want to use parquet flooring in the first 2 layers. Wood parquet flooring. I can actually get it in kit form, so I just basically lay it out, glue it down. Upstairs, because this is a main bedroom, hallway and a nursery, the public visitors would hardly have ever seen these rooms. They wouldn't have necessarily spent a lot of money on parquet flooring. So plain flooring, lollipop sticks or something, cut down and then correctly varnished, or I should say correctly coloured. I might use a matte artist's varnish when I'm finished, but a plain wood flooring like you normally would have in a house will work quite well, and it should work very, very well. Paint wise, I've got all my paint colours chosen, and I don't think I've got my paperwork with me, have I? Oh, I have. So let me just get the paint sorted out and I'll show you what colours I've chosen. I can put that bit of paper down. Right, just get my bit of paper and I know I'm ready. So with the bedroom, I'm using a colour called Clontarf, not quite sure. It's a pale blue. I mean, these are all from a well-known, shall we say, high street chain. That should work quite well. It's very close to a duck egg, and it's the sort of colour they would have used in the Regency period. We have to remember this house is occupied by a up-and-coming middle-class gentleman who's made his money in the wool trade. So it's his first house. He can't afford the latest paints, the most fashionable. So I'm looking at Clontarf. I could have done wallpaper panels, but that would have been extremely expensive in the time because everything was hand printed, and one roll of wallpaper would have cost you a month's worth of wages, if not more. Ceilings for all of these will be in a chalk white. It's the nearest I can get, so it's slightly off white. It will work quite well for the ceilings. The ceilings I have already, you can probably see a little line, I've actually not top coated, I've just primed them so they're ready. However, the colour, where is it, is Andalusia, which is a soft creamy yellow, and I shall do all three of the hallways in the Andalusia. That ties all of the hallways together. Symmetry and simplicity was a key word for this period of the Regency. The nursery, which is on this side, I've actually gone for a colour they did use, which was duck egg. I know the colour's not coming over, but it's another sort of minty, a soft mint green. And I think for a nursery that would work as a very good colour, nice and light. Coming down to, which room is this? I have to keep checking. The library / study room, which is going to be the master's room. It's where he runs the household from, and it's where he studies. I'm hoping to put in some bookshelves on that. I'm actually going to use what they call Chelsea. It's more or less a brick red. I should have done that way, shouldn't I? Clontarf. Well, I can't do it the duck egg, but it's a reddish colour. Again, most of the colours would have been rather grey, neutral sort of colours, because they didn't have chemical colours at that time. Most of the colours were made from earth minerals, and earth minerals like a red is made from iron oxide, and it has a sort of muddy colour to it. They did have oil paints because they used to make it from linseed oil, but most of these are going to be more of a classic matte. So we've got a red colour in here, which is quite a rich colour. Andalusia again in the hallway. And then in the room I'm euphemistically calling the sofa room, it's actually the withdrawing room. It's where the ladies would have withdrawn to after dinner, while the gents are having their cigars and so forth. I've gone with Edenberry, which is a sort of greeny colour. Again, it's rather muted, but I think it will work quite well in the withdrawing room, the sofa room, what we would have today euphemistically called the sitting room. Now in the bottom we have the dining room. Let's just turn that around so I can actually see it without having to keep picking it up. I've decided to go with the colour they call Marseille, which is a mid-blue. Now I do have stronger blues, but I think a strong blue would be too dark for a dining room. It wasn't unusual for a dining room to be in this sort of strong red. I've seen plenty of photos of Edward IV houses which use a red, but I've decided to go with blue. This guy that's recently made his money and has now become middle class wouldn't necessarily be able to understand the delicate society that he was coming into, but I think it will work quite well. Set against the chalk white ceilings, I think it will be very, very nice. And then of course we've got this room over here, and I've for some reason not got the colour out. Oh dear, oh no, oh, where's the colour gone? I've put the colour down, haven't I? Oh, well, the idea of that colour is Chelsea. It's effectively a mid yellow, so it's, I'm not sure this is showing very well on this, but this is a sort of soft cream, the Andalusia, for the hallways, and it's a stronger colour than that. This one is a slightly different colour, but it will give you a rough idea of what the colour is. I'm sorry, it's not really coming out very well on this camera at all, but it's a yellowy, a creamy yellow is the best way I can describe it. And I think at the end of the day, for a music room, that will work. There was still a fashion for chinoiserie inspired themes in the Edwardian period, And normally in an Edwardian period, if you were doing chinois, you would really use more of a blue colour. But I think I can get away with blue decorations against a creamy yellow. I think it will work. It'll be a nice clean colour. Maybe it's a mistake, maybe it's not. I don't know. Once I've painted, I will know. And if I don't like it, I will then reorganise and try a different colour. So that's effectively the colours I've actually come up with. I just do not know what I've done with me Chelsea, but it's around somewhere. So I don't think the colours are going to be too bad. The kitchens and basement at the back there, if I just do it this way around, we've got, now this is, it's done it again, hasn't it? I've got for the cook's office and the head butler's office, what they call Saint Raphael or Saint Raphael. It's more of a stronger blue. It would be a good colour in actual fact for the music room, and I would not be surprised to find that a master of the house would have some spare paint and think, well, I can use that instead of buying all new paint. But I think San Rafael for the butler's office is quite a good colour. It'll be a bit strong and it'll make the room feel a bit smaller, but I think it'll work quite well. So I've got San Rafael. Kitchen is in Granvia, which I've already shown you. It's more of a creamy yellow. I'm thinking of using this on the outside of the house as well, but as I'm actually going to be brick tiling it, you'll only see this as a mortar join. So I've got a little bit more research before I get into that. As for, that's the kitchen. So as for the storeroom, which is the other one, I'm using Ottawa, which is very close to a cream white. It's not exactly a cream white, but I think for a storeroom, which is that room there, it will actually work quite well. It needs to be clean, it needs to be bright, it needs to look hygienic, and that to me would express hygiene. And those three colours actually do seem to work quite well against one another. So I'll wait and see how it goes. Again, if anything is painted and it don't look right, then I will stop and I will reorganise and I will repaint. Now just give me a minute. I'm going to have a look and see if I can find this Chelsea. It's here somewhere. Back in a second. Well, I've had a look. Can I find it? No. I think it's fallen into a black hole. The trouble is, around here, what we have are gremlins. Everything gets moved. I never can find anything. I'll put it down and 5 minutes later, when I go and pick it up, it's moved. I had one the other day and found that they'd been moved into another room. It wasn't me. It wasn't my partner. I am pretty certain it's the gremlins. So it's probably in here somewhere, but I don't know where. It could have fallen down on the floor and gone under something, but I'll find it later. So I'll show you Chelsea another day when I've got it painted. I think that's the easiest way. But I've got a lot of work to do first. Fireplaces. They're going to be my big one. I've got to make all my fireplaces, although there are one or two places that do a resin cast type fireplace that I know, and they do very nice ones. I might just spend out for things like the dining room, the music room and the withdrawing room. I don't yet know whether or not it's worth it, but I'll see. That's a decision I've got to make in the next, 5 or 6 weeks. So we'll see on that one. I will probably order all of the woodwork, the parquet floor, again in about 5 or 6 weeks. I've got the dimensions. I've just got to work out the total area I've got to cover. As for the kitchens downstairs, all of the downstairs is going to be quarry tile. It is something that they would have done at that time. Quarry tiles, floor tiles would have been quite a common ingredient. We certainly know that during the Tudor period, a lot of places were tiled. You've only got to look at churches. So tiling downstairs makes a lot of sense. They wouldn't have had damp proof courses. The foundations were basic. And it's not unusual to find a basement area getting flooded. I can still remember my mum's house, which is only about, or was only about 125 years old. Every time it rained and our local river rose, she got water coming up through the floor. So, quarry tiles would have been a very sensible option. Anyway, let's get back to some other stuff, shall we? This one's more of a Chinese cat. This one's more of a Scottish cat. I've got cats that are well travelled. I don't know if that's coming over, but that cat there is actually made of maps. We've got cats that are more made of flowers. We've got cats made of postage stamps. So all of these cats are slightly different, but they are all exhibiting sort of cat-like behaviour. We've got ginger cats, we've got black cats, and there's a ragdoll cat in here somewhere. And I know my luck, I won't be able to see it now. Oh, give me a second. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. I know it's here. Oh, I found it. It's round the other side. 1 second. As you can now see, the pond is curved around. Is my ragdoll cat. I mean, you could call it a calico cat. It's made up of little oddments of fabric that's been sewn together. So I'm using scraps to make cats. Some cats are even magical. I won't say who that is, but you can work it out. I'm actually quite pleased. I've tried to keep more of a grassy theme down this end and a more airy theme for for the sky on this side. It's not completely worked, but it's getting there. I think once I get a few more cats made, it should look a lot better. As you can see, it's hanging down this side as well. I think that one's tickets of some form. Got another cat that would have been in a pond. He's made of Chinese boats, but anyway, I think that's working quite well so far. It might take a while yet to finish. I'm still going. This is so far about 5 or 6 weeks worth of work since I finished my other quilts. Both of those quilts have been passed on to their respective mothers. One's gone to a local lady who's expecting and should be giving birth August, September time. The other's gone down to London to my sister. Not that my sister's pregnant, but she's passing it on for me to her friend who's asked her for some bits and pieces. So they've both gone on to homes that really are pleased to have them. As you can see, they're quite colourful, these cats. Should make a very warm quilt for winter, hopefully. Yeah, I know, I'm a bit of a mess. You'll have to forgive me. It's been very, very hot. We've had really high temperatures here. We've not quite got up to the 33, 34 other places have got, but we've got up 31, 32, which has been really uncomfortable. It's just about starting to cool down now, so we are getting there. I'll have to try and turn the camera so it doesn't make too much of a mess. I know the background's a bit messy, I apologise. So as you've seen, we're getting on with the doll's house in the back room. It's getting there slowly. I'm quite pleased with the progress so far. Some of the decisions I'm having to make are very difficult. I'm having to spend hours and hours and hours actually on the computer doing a lot of research. Now, my historical knowledge of the not Edwardian, Georgian period is spotty at best. However, I am doing my very best with it. I'm trying to keep it period specific, and what on earth's going on with this camera? But it's getting there. It's not an easy job. That might be easier. It might seem a little odd, but there again, I've got a story behind the gentleman that's got the house. Now, my idea is we've got a young gentleman. He started off working in the wool mills in the Midlands somewhere, probably not far from Manchester. He's managed to invest what he's earning very wisely, And unfortunately, one of his uncles has passed away and has left him some money. That's allowed him to invest very wisely, and he's come very well out of it. So well, in fact, that he now owns the mill that he started working in 10 or 12 years before. He'll be in his mid-30s at this point in time, married, having married very well to another up-and-coming family. He's got into the woolen business itself, not only owning a mill, but also trading wool, buying and selling, which means that his money is really coming in. Certainly in the Regency period, wool was very big business. I don't doubt that before long he'll invest in the East India Company. I don't think I need to say too much more on that one. Some of their decisions and some of their trades were rather questionable, shall we say, the very least. But he'll do quite well out of it anyway. With his newfound wealth, he's now bought himself a patch of land in the suburbs of somewhere like Manchester, and it's an up and coming area, and a lot of people are building medium-sized homes at that time. So he's gone for the latest architects, the latest styles, and the latest stones. I'm hoping to use a sandstone form of block tile. I'll know more when I actually get them. I could use brick, but I just don't like it. It just doesn't feel right to me. Yes, he's going to be making lots of mistakes in his colour choices, and some cases they're going to seem a bit odd, but he's still up and coming. He's all new to all of this middle class malarkey. He's still a working class person at heart. So, he's done well for himself, and I don't doubt he's doing very, very well. He'll do even better in a few years, especially if he continues. He could end up living in a very big country mansion before long. So that's the basic story behind the doll's house and how he's doing. As for the cat quilt, as you can see, it's coming along. Yep, my third quilt. That's going to be some fun and games. What else is it? I'm sure there's something else. But yeah, we do have gremlins. Things keep moving. I have managed to find my camera grip to hold my camera. The problem is, can I find the tripod? Nope. I give up. It's around here somewhere. I will find it. But I'll try and get it sorted for next month anyway. So I've got a few things still going. I've got a shawl to knit. That's a big one. It's a very big one. It's one of my favourite shawls I've wanted to do for a very long time. I've managed to finally, after about 4 weeks of searching, found me crochet hooks. I need crochet hooks to knit. Yes, you knit with knitting needles, not crochet hooks, but I need to do a crochet cast on. Now, I can crochet cast on with knitting needles, but it'd be easier to actually crochet cast on with a crochet hook. The pattern initially advised doing a 3.25mm needle cast on. I've tried it and I've got about 20 rounds in, and it's just way too loose for the wool I'm using, which is a 2-ply lace wool. So it's all come down and I've got to redo it, and I'm going to use something like a 2.5mm crochet hook and probably either a 2 1/4 or 2 3/4 hook, needle. I must say needle, double pointed needle to get it started. I can increase that needle size incrementally as I go, and that should avoid any loose stitches to start with, because knitting outwards with double pointed needles is hard work. It's not difficult, it's not impossible. Sorry, I'm just going to change hands. It's just drives you nuts, because you've always got to be careful that stitches don't fall off. You've also got to be aware of your tension, because you are going to go from one needle to the next and you'll get a gap, and that will tend to pull on the actual needle. So it tends to take a little bit of work. That's better. So I've got to try. Most of my shawls are either done flat, so I knit from the bottom up, or I start at the outside and knit in. So I might knit the lace edging around the outside first, then pick up all the stitches and put them onto a circular needle and then knit inwards. So you're knitting towards the center, and going on to double pointed needles at that point is a bit easier. There are a lot of different ways of knitting shawls. They are not complicated. For those of you who think knitting shawls is complicated, it's not. It's so simple. You have two stitches. I better put my fingers the right way around, hadn't I? Two stitches, knit and purl. Other than that, all you've got to remember that there's cast to the left, cast to the right, yarn forwards, which is making a hole. You sometimes have to do a centered decrease, so you have knit 3 together, where you actually slip 1, knit 2 together, and then pass the slip stitch over. So you either have a decrease where the middle stitch is towards the front, and others where it's behind. All it is the way you decrease. They're actually very simple. The hard part is when you've got 2, 3, 4, or even 5,000 stitches on a big circular needle. And yes, I've had up to 5,000 stitches on over 12 foot of needle, a very long circular needle I made up out of several other circular needles. Yeah, it can get quite crazy very quickly. It gets even crazier when you, like me, design your own patterns. That's when it really gets complicated. If I take a pattern that's already complicated enough and then modify it to do it my way, it often gets worse. I've recently had a bit of a laugh from my sister because she's knitting baby's clothing. She's knitting left front, right front, back. Not me. I'd knit the left, back, and right front all in one go. I'd get up to the sleeves. I'd knit the sleeves separate, and then I'd knit them off. So cast off the sleeves as I went back and forth in the pan. So I'd actually be casting them off as I went. In some cases, I'll actually knit the sleeves at the same time as I'm knitting the baby's jacket. So the whole thing's knitted in one go. I know that sounds complicated, and for a lot of knitters, it is. But for those of us who've been knitting for long enough, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. Dead easy. But we're not really giving you a lesson in knitting here at the end of the day. So I'll show you that one when I get going, and I'm comfortable that the starting stitches are not too loose. So that's something to keep an eye out for later on. You'll recognise it as soon as you see it because it's yellow. At least the centre's yellow. That will give you a clue, but I'm not saying any more. You'll have to wait and see on that one. So anything else I'm doing? Not at the moment, I don't think. Yes, I am still doing mechanical and electrical work. That one's behind me. You don't want to see that. This is the craft channel. When I eventually get an update on that one, I'll put it up. Let's just say I've got a little bit of mechanical work to do and a lot of electrical. Yeah, I enjoy that sort of work. It's what I used to do for a job years ago. Anyway, for now, I'll say bye-bye. Sorry about being a little bit of a mess. Sorry this video's a bit of a mess. And hopefully I'll see you in about 5 weeks' time with the next update. So until then, bye-bye, take care and be safe.